The third monster is the smallest, but it asks the most persistent. It asks subscription creep. Ben thinks he asks being careful. He says, oh, it asks just $15 for Netflix. It asks just $10 for Spotify. It asks just $20 for that gym membership. But then there asks the Disney bundle, the Amazon Prime, the Tinder Gold, the premium weather app, the cloud storage he doesn't use, the Patreon for a creator he stopped watching in 2022. Individually, they are just a few lets. Together, the average American is now spending over $250 a month on recurring digital services. That is $30 a year. That is Ban's entire vacation fund, literally evaporating into the digital void. This is death by 1,000 cuts. It is invisible, it is automatic, and because it asks a small number, Ben doesn't feel the pain. But this monster is much more dangerous to Ban's future than a cup of coffee he actually sits down and enjoys. It asks the silent leak in the boat that eventually sinks the ship. The second monster stalking Ban is parked right in his driveway. It asks the car payment industrial complex. Currently, the average new car payment in the U.S. has skyrocketed to over $700 a month, but that asks just the sticker price. When Ban adds in the premium insurance, the gas, the registration fees, and the maintenance, he is likely working 10 to 12 full days every month just to afford the machine that transports him to the place where he earns the money. It asks a literal circle of financial hell. We have been brainwashed by shiny commercials into thinking that a 50 SUV is a basic necessity for safety and comfort. Ben sees his neighbor with a new truck and feels that keeping up with the Joneses itch. But here is the reality. A car is a depreciating asset. It is a rock that gets smaller every day until it disappears. If Ben decides to drive a 5-year-old used Toyota that he bought in cash, or even with a small, short-term loan, the difference in his net worth over his lifetime is staggering. It asks literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. That shiny BMW isn't a status symbol for Ben. It asks a giant vacuum cleaner attached to his bank account. You can drink 5 Latte a day, Ben, and you will still be significantly richer than the guy in the brand new Mercedes if your car is paid off and his is owned by the bank. If Ben really wants to retire before he is 80, he needs to stop fighting with his local baristas and start fighting the real giants. The first giant is the housing trap. In the United States, the gold standard rule is that you shouldn't spend more than 30% of your pre-tax income on housing. But look at Ban's neighborhood. Everyone is pushing that limit to 40, 50, or even 60. Why? Because society tells Ben he needs that extra bedroom for a guest that might visit once every 2 years. Or he needs the apartment with the marble countertops because they look better in his Instagram stories, even though they don't make his cereal taste any better. For Ben, reducing his rent or mortgage by moving just 10 or 15 minutes further away, or dare I say getting a roommate for a year or two, isn't just about saving coffee money. It asks about saving 500 every single month. That is the equivalent of 200 lets every single month. When Ben overspends on his home, he isn't just losing the cash he pays to the landlord or the bank. He is losing the opportunity cost. If that extra 10 was going into the stock market instead of a fancy zip code, it would be compounding into millions. One bad housing decision in your 20s or 30s can wipe out 40 years of coffee savings in a single afternoon. Ben needs to realize that a home is a place to live, not a trophy to show off to people he doesn't even like. Before we dive into the second monster that is currently lurking in Ban's garage, I have a quick question for you. Are you finding this helpful? Are you realizing that maybe your morning coffee isn't the villain of your story? If you want to see Ben actually get his life together and reach financial independence, do him and this channel a huge favor. Hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, but it tells the YouTube algorithm that this video is actually providing value. And if you are new here, hit subscribe and turn on that notification bell. We are here every week to help you navigate the crazy world of money without losing your mind. Done. Great, let us get back to Ben and his massive car problem. Meet Ben. Ben is your average guy. He works a 9 to 5, pays his taxes, and tries his best to save for the future. Every morning, Ben has a ritual. He walks into his favorite local cafe, breathes in the aroma of roasted beans, and orders a $7 oat milk latte with a pump of vanilla. For Ben, this isn't just coffee. It asks the fuel that gets him through a mountain of spreadsheets. But as Ben taps his phone to pay, a wild financial guru suddenly appears out of thin air. He asks wearing a suit that costs more than Ban's car, and he asks pointing a judgmental finger. Stop right there, Ben. Drop the caffeine. Do you have any idea what you doing? You literally drinking your retirement. According to the old school gurus, if Ben just skipped that latte, saved those $7, and invested them into a low-cost index fund for 40 years, he'd magically wake up with $2 million. We've all heard it before. It has called the latte factor. It has the idea that the only thing standing between Ben and a private island is his crippling caffeine addiction. It has a simple story, it has a catchy story, and here as the problem, it has a total lie. Today, we're going to do the math that the gurus don't want Ben to see. We are going to peel back the curtain on why skipping coffee is actually a terrible strategy for building real wealth. I am going to reveal the big three monsters that are actually stocking Ben's bank account and yours, and I'll show you how to fix them without having to live like a monk. This is the part the gurus never talk about, psychological burnout. This is why extreme frugality almost always fails for guys like Ben. It acts exactly like a crash diet. If Ben tells himself he can't have coffee, can't have Netflix, can't go out for pizza with his friends, and can't buy a new shirt, his brain eventually enters deprivation mode. Willpower is a finite resource. Eventually, Ben's willpower runs out. And when it does, he snaps. He goes on a 2-0 revenge spending spree on Amazon at 2-0 because he deserved a treat after months of suffering. He buys a drone he doesn't need or a high-end espresso machine he'll never use. The truly wealthy don't get rich by cutting out joy, they get rich by automating the big wins. Ben needs a system of guilt-free spending. Instead of agonizing over every penny, Ben should follow a simple percentage-based life. Fixed costs, $5,060 of his income: rent, utilities, food. Investments, $10 going straight into his Roth IRA or 401k. Savings, $10 for emergencies or big purchases. Guilt-free spending. The remaining $20 of Ben's investments are happening automatically the second his paycheck hits his account. Who cares about the coffee? If the big numbers are working, the small numbers simply do not matter. Ben can buy the expensive socks. He can go to the midnight premiere of a movie. He can buy the oat milk latte with extra foam. Why? Because the machine is already running in the background. Let us look at the numbers through Ben's eyes. Let us say Ben decides to become a disciplined financial soldier. He quits the cafe, no more Lattes, no more vanilla pumps. He starts drinking that said, gray, lukewarm water they call coffee in the office break room. Ben manages to save exactly $150 a month. If Ben invests that $150 every single month for 30 years at a 7 interest rate, he ends up with about $175. Now, don't get me wrong, $175 is a decent chunk of change. If this were $1,990, Ben could buy a literal castle in the Midwest and still have money left over for a fleet of used cars. But we aren't living in 1990. In the year 2026, $175 is barely a down payment for a studio apartment in a city where the air smells like wet cardboard and the subway is always delayed. While Ben was busy obsessing over $5 or $7, the world around him changed. The price of a college degree has exploded by over 1-100. The price of a starter home has jumped 500. Healthcare? Don't even get Ben started on healthcare. This is what I call micro-optimization. It asks when Ben spends 100 of his limited mental energy trying to save one of his income. It asks like trying to drain the ocean with a teaspoon while a massive tsunami is visible on the horizon. The coffee trap is a psychological trick. It asks designed to make Ben feel guilty about small joys so he doesn't have the energy to notice the massive, gaping structural holes in his bank account. It keeps him playing defense when he should be playing offense. Here is the ultimate secret of the one that Ben needs to hear. There is a hard limit to how much you can save, but there is no limit to how much you can earn. Ben can only cut his expenses down to zero. Even if he lives in a tent and eats nothing but rain water and lentils, he can save more than 100 of his income. But on the income side of the equation, there is no ceiling. Spending 10 hours a week clipping digital coupons and driving to 3 different grocery stores to save 40 on groceries is a terrible investment of Ben's time. It has a low-value activity. If Ben spent those same 10 hours learning a high-value skill like digital marketing, coding, or high-ticket sales, he could increase his income by 20, 0 or 50, 0 a year. Think about this. Negotiating your salary one time for an extra 5, 0 a year is worth exactly 1, 0 lets. It takes 15 minutes of one uncomfortable conversation with a boss to earn what would take 3 years of coffee suffering to save. Ben needs to stop playing defense and start playing offense. He needs to realize that his time is his most valuable asset, and he shouldn't be wasting it on $5 problems. Money, at its core, isn't about numbers on a spreadsheet or the balance in a checking account. It asks about psychological freedom. The coffee trap keeps Ban in a scarcity mindset. It makes him feel like a victim of his own desires. It turns every small purchase into a moment of anxiety and guilt. That is no way to live. The freedom mindset is different. It asks about building a system that works while you sleep. It asks about realizing that in the 21st century, Ban's greatest asset is his attention. If Ban is constantly worrying about the price of a coffee, he doesn't have the mental bandwidth to spot the $50,000 opportunities. The wealthy look at the world through the lens of leverage. They use their money to buy back their time. They don't mind paying $7 for a coffee if it saves them 20 minutes of work and makes them feel 10 more productive. They understand that cheapness is often the most expensive way to live. So, here is the plan for Ben. Tomorrow morning, he is going to walk back into that cafe. He is going to order the large latte. He is going to get the oat milk. And he is going to enjoy every single sip without a single ounce of guilt. But, while Ban is sitting there drinking that coffee, he is going to open his banking app. He is going to set up an automatic transfer to his brokerage account for 10% of his income. He is going to look at his car payment and his rent and ask himself, am I overpaying for a status symbol? Master the big three: housing, transportation, and subscriptions. Automate your investments so you don't have to think about them. And most importantly, start playing offense. Stop letting gurus tell you that your morning joy is the reason you aren't a millionaire. If this video helped you feel a little less guilty about your morning routine, let me know in the comments. Tell me, what is the one luxury you will never give up, no matter what the gurus say? Ban says it as his high-speed internet and his premium gym membership. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of money. Stay caffeinated, stay invested, and I'll see you in the next one.